Hi there, Malcolm here for my 378th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a book review for The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This is a book I've read many times. Last time I read it was 2015 though, so it's well overdue a reread. And I read this to my wife, who's also read it before many times. For those who don't know, this was a BBC radio drama in the late 70s, which did rather well for itself. Douglas Adams then wrote the book form, which was similar, but there were various changes made from the radio series. It was then turned into a BBC TV show, where again some changes were made. Eventually a film came out, and again certain things had been changed. But the fundamental plot has always remained the same. It follows a man called Arthur Dent, who gets up one morning, possibly Thursday, only to find his house is about to be demolished to make way for a bypass. However, it turns out not to be the biggest problem on his plate, because it turns out that the Earth also is due to be demolished to make way for a hyperspace expressway. And the only way he survives the demolition of the planet Earth is because his best friend, Ford Prefect, isn't from Guildford after all, but from a planet in the vicinity of Betelgeuse, who is able to thumb a lift at the last second. And from there they go on many wacky and crazy adventures, along with Zaphod Beeblebrox, the president of the galaxy, and Trillian, a woman who left Earth a few months previously with Zaphod. And last but not least, Marvin the paranoid android, a robot built with a genuine people personality, which for whatever reason seems to be set on depressed mode. And in this adventure, these five idiots try to find out what the meaning of life is. Or rather, it's already been found, but it's only a matter of what the question was in the first place. So it's a science fiction comedy that is about as British as you can get, full of satire, cynicism, and chock full of amazing quotes. Now, needless to say, obviously I love this one, booktastic, how could it not be? However, on this last reading I noticed for the first time that Trillian is not only the only female character in the story, but she doesn't really get that many lines either. She does have some, but I think even Marvin gets to say more than she does, and he's with them most of the time, because they can't stand him. I think they did try and fix for the film by injecting this random woman who's somehow spokesperson of the Vogons, but she felt very out of place in that. But I find that there's not really a huge amount I can say about this book that hasn't been said thousands of times before. You know, I could stand here and read out some of my favourite quotes, but really this is either a book that you get and love, or it just doesn't work for you. But certainly if you like Monty Python, or The Goon Show, or The Two Ronnies, that sort of humour that involves the outright bizarre, clever play on words, or the quintessential self-effacing nature of a typical British chap, then you'll probably love this. If you don't like all those things, then this won't work for you at all. And for those who are leery of it being science fiction, yes, it's found in the science fiction section because it's got space travel, it's got robots, but all the technology, all the aliens, all the robots are all completely ridiculous, so that it's more of a satire of science fiction rather than science fiction itself. The drive of the Heart of Gold, the ship that they use, is the improbability drive that basically transports you through every point in space at the same moment before arriving at your destination, having been some weird and insane things along the way. The robots manically depressive. The doors, they open with a swoosh and a of satisfaction of a job well done. You know, the aliens are either the Vogons, which are barely evolved beyond the primordial sludge that has crept out of the ocean, to the Huluvu, a super intelligent shade of the colour blue. And the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy itself, an in-book item, is basically Wikipedia on an electronic device, or a sort of electronic book written back in the 70s when such a thing was unthinkable, which is now unfortunately quite primitive in comparison to our tablets and mobile phones nowadays. And of course the meaning of life, the universe and everything has been discovered to be 42. So if that's the thing that rocks your boat, give it a go. Like I say, radio series is fantastic. I read the books first, so they're always going to be my favourite medium of it. The TV show's okay, it's very much made on a budget, and it shows, but the performances are all great. And I really like the film. I would have said Martin Freeman would have been my choice to be Arthur Dent, but he does a very good job of it. And Sam Rockwell does a very good job stealing the show as Zaphod Beeblebrox. So have you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? What's your favourite quote from it? If you have, it can be from any of the versions. So comment below, please. But as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things if you want. And until next time, see you later.